New football season coming up. Who do you guys think is going to win comeback player of the year?
All right, so my number one pick is going to have to be Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley last year, he got injured towards ACL. I think you can pencil Saquon Barkley in for probably at least 1,000 yards on the ground and probably at least 600 receiving yards. Because of that, because of the guaranteed success that I know Saquon Barkley is going to have, he's going to be the feature back in the Giants offense. He's going to be the bell cow. I think he's going to be number one. That's just my opinion. Number two, and again, some people might say I'm a Giants fan, I'm a homer, but number two is going to have to be Odell Beckham Jr. I think, of course, he got injured last year towards ACL, but almost every single time where he comes off of major injury, he comes back damn near stronger. I remember the first time he basically broke his ankle, twisted his foot all the way back. His first game back was against Jalen Ramsey, and he dropped 100 yards on him. I was absolutely, I was confused. I was perplexed. I was flummoxed. He didn't play a preseason game. Billy was playing in training camp, and he just came out and dropped a hundred on arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks in the league at that particular point. So I think coming off of that injury, he's probably going to come back a little bit stronger. He's hearing everybody talking. I think him along with Baker Mayfield is probably going to surprise a lot of people this upcoming season. I know it's probably going to be a little bit difficult to hear for a Steelers fan like Tyler, but regardless, I think they're going to be definitely decent. My number three option is going to be Cam Newton. Cam Newton last year, before COVID, I always say this, was absolutely phenomenal. This man was great. I think he's going to return back to that status again.
I will never understand this Cam Newton narrative, but I mean, if you're gonna go with a Giant number one, I'm gonna go with a Steeler number one because we being biased this video. I'm going with my guy Devin Bush. Devin Bush was drawing comparisons to Luke Kuechly when he was healthy, man. That young man was one of the anchors of our young defense. Him alongside T.J. Watt, they led us to being undefeated for most of the season until people started getting hurt, and then that's when our season really took a turn for the worse. So I gotta go with Devin Bush number one because he's proven to be one of the young hearts and souls of the team, and he has a pretty big influence on how our defense plays every single week. Next, we gotta show some love to Dallas, man. Y'all know where I'm going. We gotta go Dak Prescott. No, I'm not going Zeke because I think Zeke is done. That's another conversation. I think we gotta talk about Dak, and here's why. First of all, Dak is gonna have the ball in his hand this season a lot, and Dak is playing for a lot. He's really playing for his career, being disrespected week in and week out, seeing every single one of his teammates get paid, and for some reason he continuously has to prove himself again, time and time again, until he finally gets hurt. And this is exactly what we feared, that Dak would get hurt without getting his contract. When we last seen Dak, I don't know about you guys, but Dak is a top 10 QB in this league. Because he plays for Dallas, there's so much controversy, but when you really look at the numbers and look at how he plays, Dak is a really consistent and reliable quarterback. And with the weapons that he has, I think that he's going to be able to prove why he's still yet again a top 10 QB in this league. And thirdly, I mean, Rob, you hit it on the nose, man. Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is just a freak, and I think Saquon Barkley, when he's healthy, he's top two, and he might not be two at his position. I mean, he's going to get the ball a lot himself. I know you guys got Danny Dimes, and you got Evan Ingram, and you got some guys in that offense. But I think Saquon, the list goes on. That's a very high-powered offense. I'll give it to you. You know what I'm saying? But I think with Saquon Barkley, he's going to get the majority of the touches, a bulk of the touches. He's proven to be one of the young leaders on that offensive side of the ball. And I think with his dynamic ability to catch as well as run the ball, and he's also just a freak athlete, I think he's going to come back maybe even better than he was before the injury. So, again, those are my top three. Devin Bush, Dak Prescott, and Saquon Barkley.
I agree with Rob that Cam Newton, he's on his way back, man. He was in my MVP talk. He's going to be the first player ever to win MVP and most comeback player of the year. But I'm only going to have two takes for this one. I'm going to have Cam Newton, and for my second take, I'm going to say Antonio Brown. I feel like this is his first time playing. Hopefully he plays a full season in 2-3 years. I feel like he's going to come back and be just like he was. He is going to be 33, 34 years old, but I feel like he's going to be a crucial part of that Buccaneers offense. Who knows? He'll go off for 1,600 yards, and Tom Brady is just going to be feeding him all season because everybody's worried about Gronk and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. They have a bomb squad over there, which gives Antonio Brown room to work.
The reason why I'm a little bit worried about Antonio Brown is because That offense is just so high powered. They got a whole bunch of weapons. I mean, you think about it, I mean, it's just insane. And of course, another thing is that Tom Brady loves to share the ball. He doesn't necessarily key in on one wide receiver, similar to how Baker Mayfield did to Odell Beckham, which kind of stifled their offense a little bit earlier on. Another thing is going to be the reason why I kind of like that pick is going to be because Antonio Brown now has the ability to actually go into training camp and practice alongside Tom Brady and gain that repertoire. Remember, even when he played the Patriots, he didn't necessarily have that repertoire with Tom Brady. He wasn't necessarily in training camp. He spent all training camp with the Oakland Raiders. He didn't necessarily have that repertoire. So I think now coming in, having that full offseason with Tom Brady, having that full offseason with all the other weapons, having being in sync, I think there's definitely a better chance for him to actually, have a lot better statistical numbers in the next season. So I like that pick.
Yeah, again, I think we all like Antonio Brown as a pick. I think it's highly questionable because of that same reason that you just used, saying that they do have a very stacked offense. I mean, the other two receivers could be number one receivers on just about 80% of the league right now, and they also have a very great tight end core, probably the best tight end core in the league. And also, like you said, Tom Brady likes to share the ball a lot. So I mean, Antonio Brown he has been playing great in the slot. We saw just last season how good he can be in the slot. But I don't know, man. What got them that ring was the way Tom Brady was able to effectively distribute the ball across all his weapons. So I don't think Antonio Brown is going to put up those Pittsburgh Steelers Antonio Brown numbers. But I think a true football fan will see that Antonio Brown is back. He just won't have the numbers to back up comeback player of the year, in my opinion.
Well, one more thing, and as a resident Giants fan, I have to combat Tyler's pick with Dak Prescott. The thing about Dak Prescott is his numbers is always going to look pretty. It's always going to look pretty. I mean, coming into even in the last season, he was leading the league in NFL in passing yards. The thing about Dak Prescott is that he never shows up quarters 1 through 3. He's always behind about 3-4 TDs, and then in the fourth quarter, he throws 200 yards, probably 2 TDs, and then everybody thinks he had a very good game. But no, in the first 3 quarters, it was absolutely garbage. So I think he'd have overwhelmingly probably amazing numbers. But for the record, But for the roster that he has, 100% the record is not going to match. I think the roster that he has, they should at least win probably 11 or 12 games. But I personally believe he's probably going to win 8 or 9, probably 7 or 8. And it's not necessarily going to look good. I think there's probably going to be a lot of blowouts today in that season, especially early on in the first 3 quarters. I think eventually, Pete, he's probably going to get exposed for the quarterback that he is. Early in the season, or early in his career, it was all roses, man, because he was getting paid $400,000 a year. Now he's being paid top dollar. Now he is the highest paid quarterback in the league. He's going to have to now back that up with not only statistical records, but also wins. How are you going to do when it comes to actually winning football games? What are you going to do in the playoffs? Again, just winning the playoffs isn't necessarily going to be good, even though I think Dak Prescott is challenging that. Are you going to actually get a ring now? And I think that right there is going to be a little bit challenging for him. It's probably going to expose him, which I don't even think that he's probably going to come back play of the year.
Nah, I agree. I hear what you're saying too, especially when you're one of my main things. Like if you're paid, like you have to show up, you have to perform under every circumstance. But I think the problem with Dallas isn't really Dak's inability to show up. I think it's more so the play calling as a whole. When guys like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady and even Drew Brees, when it's time to take over the game, they'll take advice from the offensive coordinator, but for the most part, those guys are going to tell you what play to run. I don't think there's a lot of trust for Dak Prescott, so you see a lot of instances where on 3rd and long, they'll give the ball to Zeke for some odd reason, and they'll do that, for 3 quarters throughout, and then they realize, okay, now we have to catch up. Now we just have to pass on all 4 downs, or at least 3 downs. So, like you make valid points, but I think it's going to come down to, will the play calling be different this year? Because every year they have a Super Bowl caliber roster, but it's always the play calling that ends up, killing them in the end. So,
yeah. Well, they got the same coaching staff, so I think the play calling is going to be very similar, to be honest.
Yeah.
I hope it is.
I know you. I hope a guy that you paid all this money, you're gonna at least hear him out on some 3rd down situations. Like let him pass the ball instead of running it on 3rd and long. Like, I'll never understand that.
And not only that, I mean, the Zeke problem. You paying Zeke?
Yeah,
He's just like Dak, the highest paid running back in regards to full length contract. Probably not Dak, but Zeke in regards to full length contract, $90 million, highest paid running back, and he's giving you this. I mean, Zeke hasn't necessarily been the same since what, 2019, 2018, something like that. And the thing about Zeke, which became a problem last year, was his fumbling. Well, not even last year. The year before that, his fumbling. And it's like people don't necessarily understand that turnovers that running backs give you hurt just like the turnovers that the quarterbacks give you. People always look at the interceptions for a quarterback and actually devalue them. If you guys recall, again, Jameis Winston had 30 picks. No one is calling Jameis Winston a top quarterback, even though he still had 5,000 yards and 30 TDs. They just brought out a list of top 10 running backs. They got Zeke like number 3. It's like, are we going to really forget about the 9 fumbles that he had and 6 turnovers that he had? That's just not supposed to count? Like, come on now.
Yeah, man. I get what you're saying, man, and that got a lot to work against. But I'm hoping that I just want to see a young black QB in this league, prosper. That's all I'm really looking for. One let us down that I shall not name. So come on, Dak. I'm rooting for you, man.
Wow.
Wait a minute. We can't play the young black. You was rooting against Cam Newton ever since he got in the league. Keep it a G.
No. Cam was my guy. Super Bowl Cam was my guy, but like that kind of inflated his career. Like if you go through the numbers, I just want guys to be recognized for who they are and not something greater than what they really are. That's all I'm about.
Mm-hmm. I know you're salivating for Lamar Jackson to be exposed next season too. Cut the malarkey. Cut the malarkey, bro.
No, I'm a Lamar guy. Even though he played for the Ravens.
You're a Steelers fan.
I don't.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? I don't.
Whose side is Rob on?
As far as what?
I don't know, man. He just coming for Lamar. He coming for.
He said I don't mess with him.
Yeah, he's gonna come for Cam.
I'm saying I want Tyler to cut the malarkey by saying a young black quarterback because we got multiple black quarterbacks on record that Tyler don't like. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, I mean, I can't disagree with that. If you a Raven, I don't. Yeah.